Bismillah. This is a very special episode. This episode means a lot to me as well. Been going through a weird, I'm not going to say upsetting, I'm just going to say weird. I mean, it is upsetting, but how I've been feeling has been weird the past few days. Let me get a bit better angle. So basically, obviously, let me just start off by saying this episode is sponsored by Human Appeal. We are supporting the people of Palestine. So make sure that you go into the link in my bio below. And, is that better? Yeah. Make sure you go into the link in my bio below and make sure you donate, or you can go over to the link in my bio on my Instagram, and you will see that we have raised £24,000 for the people of Palestine. So again, and we're going to be keeping it going throughout the the whole project, which is a 30-part project. We're in currently, this is episode 15. So again, this is the halfway mark. I've really enjoyed this project. I'm definitely going to continue it, going out throughout the year and throughout all the other, throughout the years and, well, until I die, essentially. Which, funnily enough, brings me on to the topic of today's podcast, which I guess is death. I got some news the other day, maybe 6 days ago. An old friend of mine, very close family friend as well, but it was my friend because he was my age. We went to school together, and then obviously as life happens, you just drift because people go to college and etc. and whatnot. I found out, the other day, I found out that he committed suicide. And obviously suicide's a very, I don't know if it's a thing that's been in my life for the past few years. In my life, I'm talking, not like people around me committing suicide. But yeah, I got that news that he committed suicide. He had a girlfriend. She loved him, and they used to go on holidays and stuff like that. So again, on the outside, everything seemed fine, and I messaged my other friend, and I said to him, and I was like, "Oh, what happened? What happened?" And then he was just like, "What did he say? I think he said, oh, man, it's just the demons won or something, or he couldn't take it anymore." And I don't know, man. It just what he said, that affected me. Not affected me, I wasn't upset. I didn't cry or anything. Not that anything's wrong with crying. I'm just saying it didn't affect me in that way. And I was almost shocked that it didn't affect me that way as well. And then my mum told me a story that because she saw him not too long ago, and that was a thing in itself. She saw him. Yeah, she saw him, and the story she told me, then what she told me, that affected me. And again, it's just been playing on my mind for a long time. And then obviously there's moments where I forget, and then there's little things that happen that will remind me. But then again, I had a lot of thoughts that came from it, and I was reading certain books and watching podcasts, and I don't know if I felt like a lot of death was, the quotes were about death and stuff. So again, I just thought I'd share just how I'm thinking and how I'm dealing with it, and any kind of wisdom we can draw from it. I think the main thing is death is a reality that everyone is going to face. It's one of those ones that everyone agrees with. Muslims, Jews, Christians, atheists, agnostics. I think one thing we all agree on is we're all gonna die. how we get there might differ. Some people might die in a car crash. Some people might commit suicide. But one thing that's going to happen eventually, this thing we call life will eventually come to an end. And depending on what you believe happens after, that's up for debate. But I think the one thing that it kind of taught me, it's really put everything into perspective for me. Even talking to people, like the way I've been talking to my friends the past few days, or like when my mum wants to like come and see me, and I'm just like, yeah, like this is. And I remember when I got the news as well, I was worried about something. I think I was worried about like what I was doing next year or some stuff, something stupid. And I was worried about what I was doing next year, and I was worried about, oh, how am I going to afford this and do this, and oh my God, like again, if there's a woman involved and all blah blah blah, all of this stuff. And I got that news, and suddenly none of that mattered. All those oh, how am I going to pay for this, and what kind of where should I travel next year, where should I travel this year, and again, do I want to live there and do this? And again, I got the news that my old friend committed suicide, and I was just like, wow, none of what I cared about, none of that matters. It literally was the most pointless thing to me. Like, I just looked at it like, when I came back to because obviously after someone passes away, you have your like the period where you're thinking about it, like, oh my God, I'd like him, and he like that. And then you go back to your day, and you go back to watching YouTube, you go back to playing your game, you go back to worrying about if your ex is cheating on you, well, not your ex. If you're wondering if your wife's cheating on you, you're wondering if your ex has found someone new, you wonder about, like, again, life comes back to life goes back to normal. But that person's not here anymore. And then sometimes you'll go back into that reality of these things and everything. And I don't know, I just think this because we was old friends, and because we, again, like, I remember we used to pick him up every single day pretty much every single day. We used to pick him up every single day, him and his dad, and we used to take them to school. Well, me and him would go to school. Yeah, man, it's a very, very weird, very, very weird. It's still even weird now when I'm talking about it. It's still like I don't think the reality is set in. And I remember when another one of my friends, he was killed, and I remember for about a year I didn't go to his grave. And again, I was fine. I was like, I remember when I got that news as well, that it kind of shook me up. But I remember I had a basketball game, so I had the basketball game and I finished that, and I wasn't in the city when it happened, and the news and so many other things was happening. I'll do a whole separate episode for that. And then I remember I came back one day, and I just stumbled. I was in the graveyard. I can't remember what I was even doing there. And I was there, and I went to his grave, and I saw his name on the tombstone. And it was in that moment that I realized, like, this is actually real. Like, he's actually not here. And I think that's when I just provided. That maybe happened like 5-6 years ago. I don't think I've ever cried like that, ever. Like, and I don't think I've cried since then. I've definitely cried since then. What am I about? But like, that one was just flowing. That one was just because I realized I didn't accept it until that moment. I was like, oh, this is actually real. But again, I've been babbling on for 9 minutes now. But yeah, the main thing was, it was just about death, and that's what I want to talk about. I know I'm sorry I've taken this long to get to this point. It's like the longest intro, and again, just for anyone that's made it this far, I do ask that you do make a prayer, a dua for my friend, and make sure that he's okay and his family's okay. and again, just to make it easier for him. Anyway, and there was this one quote that I read, because there's this book called Marcus Aurelius' Meditations. I really like the book. It's a really good book, and you should get it. And basically, it said you could leave life right now. So let that determine what you do, say, and think. And I remember when I first read that, I was like, if you lived your life with the remembrance that you're going to die, and with the remembrance that the person you're talking to, whether it be a family member or a friend or a lover or whatever, or even just your next door neighbor or even an enemy, if you remember the fact that that person is going to die as well, and you don't know when it is as well. It's always, every moment death is getting closer. And if you remembered that everyone dies and you're going to die, if you remember that everyone's going to die, you have your day that you're going to die. And if, again, you could die, tomorrow could be my last day here. And if tomorrow was my last day on this earth, what words, how would I talk to my mum? How would I talk to my brother? How would I talk to my sister? How would I talk to my friend? How would I talk to my wife? How would I talk to my next door neighbor or the person that I bump into the street? All of these things, how would you act? Like, what? I mean, you get some people that be like, oh, well, I just get pissed and just drink it. Like, but I think most people would want to leave something behind. They'd want to give something. They'd want to leave something for the people. They'd want to tell their mum how much they love them. They'd want to tell their brother or sister or whatever. They'd want to do that. And it just made me think, like, every moment, like, death is not only for people as well. I'm not talking about animals. But, like, death is not only for people. Moments have deaths. And I think I wrote in one of my notes, what did I write? I said, for loved ones, any moment. Oh, yeah. That moments have deaths as well. So it's not just humans that have deaths, it's moments. And every moment is, you'll never get, my mind's all over the place and it's a little bit late. It's 3:47 a.m. Basically, I was saying, when you interact with someone, just know that might be the last moment that you ever have with that person. And I think sometimes when we don't reflect on the reality of death, we think we're going to have many more moments with that person. And in the reality and the fact of the matter is, we don't know how many moments we have with our loved ones or with anyone. And you need to treat every moment as if it's the last moment, because in reality it is. Every moment that goes by, that moment will never come back. And we will never relive that moment. Anything that reminds us of that moment will just be like a mere imitation of it, but we will never get that moment back. All the moments that were going on whilst I'm even talking, we're never going to get these moments back. So we need to treat every moment as if it's the last moment, because it is. Tell that person that you love them. Don't hold back as well. Like I remember saying in another episode about living life to the fullest. Again, we don't know how many moments we have left. Tell your mum you love her. Tell your partner you love them. All of these things, because we don't know how long we have here. And then it obviously, like when it says in the Quran, when it says, to Allah we belong and to Him we are returning. We're returning every single moment that goes by. We're returning back to Allah, and eventually there'll be a moment where, in that returning, our time over on this earth will be done. What's the last words you want to say? What type of actions do you want to do? What do you want to leave on this earth? And I remember, funnily enough, this podcast, the idea of it came from, I think I had a really bad dream. It might have been a bad dream. Was it a bad dream? It was a bad dream or a good dream. I can't remember. It was just a dream, but we'll just say dream. It was a dream, and basically in that dream, I died, and I think I had a son, and I wanted to leave something for him, and I was wondering like, what I left on this earth. And obviously I've got a few songs, I've got a few poems, and I was like this, no, like I want to leave like my philosophies and like what I believed in and what I thought and what I struggled with, and I want to format that somehow. And then that's how this podcast came about, was literally from a thought of death. I was like, because if I was to die tomorrow, again, you have all these videos of me talking shit. You have all these videos of me talking about what I'm thinking about, and someone could benefit from it, someone could learn from it, it could inspire a thought in someone. And I was like, I'd love to leave that for someone, future generations. Might not even be for someone in this generation, but it could be for future generations. Sorry, this yeah, hold on, let me turn this down. Yeah, no, sorry, the camera died, but I was ready for it because I'm a patterned individual. Anyway, this episode's going on a bit longer than I wanted to. So I'm gonna start wrapping up. But I'm gonna wrap it up with a final quote that I read. It said, "Men are not disturbed by things, not by principle. Oh, men are not disturbed. Oh, men are disturbed. Oh yeah. So sorry. The quote was, men are disturbed not by things, but by the principle and notions which think." Bro, my handwriting is terrible. Men are not disturbed by things. Yeah, men are not disturbed by things, but by the principles and notions which they form concerning things. Death, for instance, is not terrible, else it would have appeared so to Socrates. But the terror that consists in our notion of death, that it is terrible. Epictetus wrote that. I can't remember what book it was, but he wrote that. And obviously just kind of breaking it down into Umar terminology, which is usually just means dumbing it down. Basically what he's saying there is just like, we have such a negative opinion of death. In reality, like the way we look at it is like, oh, something is taken from us, when in reality we shouldn't have any attachments in this world. As cold as that may sound, we shouldn't be attached to this world in any way, shape or form, not to loved ones, not to parents, not to anything of this dunya we should not be attached to, because the reality of this dunya is everything is dying, everything is fleeting, everything is slowly going into non-existence. And that's when, even when it says again, verily to Allah we are returning, everything is, even we might not see it, but everything is slowly returning back to Allah. So don't put your love in those things, because those things are dying. Put your love, put your trust in Allah, because He is the one that controls death. He is the one that death can never take over. He is the eternal. So put your love and put your focus on things that will last, rather than things of this dunya, which again is, we've already spoke about it, are like imperfect and fleeting. And again, that reality there, again, people even think of that reality, to Allah we are returning. And obviously in that return, somewhere in that journey, death has to take place. Now obviously we don't want anyone that we love to die, but in that there is beauty. And I remember Rumi saying in a poem, when he says, "Don't cry as my body's being lowered, like as it descends into the ground, for my soul is rising to the one," I'm paraphrasing here, but to the one my true lover, basically. And that is the reality of death. Death is the returning back to Allah. There's nothing sad about that. There's nothing terrible about that. It's just we have a again, as Epictetus said, we have our notion towards death is that it's a terrible thing, but it's not. It's actually quite a beautiful thing. It makes life worth living. It makes life more beautiful. The fact that all moments are, again, every moment is its last moment, and we're never going to get that moment back again. That's what makes every moment beautiful. That's why we have to sometimes slow ourselves down and appreciate every moment, because we're not going to get them back. And again, and in reality, we're just returning back to Allah. And that's what a beautiful end. So again, and obviously to as being Muslims, death is just the beginning of a new life. There is no, oh yeah, like, you know, sometimes if you talk to a nihilist or whatever, or their idea is you die and it's just a black screen. It's like, I understand why you'd be quite scared of that, but yeah. Anyway, man, my thoughts are still all over the place. I'm still kind of coming back from it as well. Even when I talk about it, I'm like still a bit meh. But yeah. Well, again, this week I'm gonna definitely do some more episodes this week. I've had some thoughts over these past 4 days, so inshallah I'll be able to whack those episodes out this week. And I appreciate everyone that's been watching these videos. I appreciate all those that have took the time out to support on Instagram, to share on your stories, the people that comment, the people that like, the people that subscribed, all these ones. I appreciate it all. This is a very some of the episodes have been very intimate to me. And I don't know, it's like, I don't know, I feel like it's just been received very well, especially on the messages I've been getting on Instagram and DMs and stuff. So alhamdulillah. But yeah, I'm gonna start waffling now because I've been talking for a long time and I'm gonna go sleep. Actually no, I'm gonna go pray Fajr, then I'm gonna go sleep. But yeah, then I'll have a new episode out either tomorrow or the day after, because again I gotta give each episode some breathing space. Anyway, make sure to click the link in my bio below to support the people of Palestine. Shout out to Human Appeal. Love Human Appeal. Again, they're the sponsors of this podcast. They support this podcast. They support me. Alhamdulillah. So again, a big shout out to them. Yeah, and again, even that, again, I want to do a lot more work with Human Appeal. I want to do a lot more work with them. Again, I'm going to die soon. So, I'm going to say it like I'm going to die tomorrow. Who knows? But yeah, I'm going to die soon. I want to do some good whilst with the time I have left on earth. I want to do some good. I want to do some deployments. I want to give some food. I want to give food parcels out. I want to build infrastructures with them and whatever they've got planned. I'm fully 100% behind Human Appeal and all of the work they do. I love it all. If you go on their page, if you go on Human Appeal's page, you'll see all the work that they do, helping people with the people with their eyesight, like blind people, obviously food, and all over the world, all over as well. Afghanistan, Somalia, Palestine, everywhere. There's so many places they're helping, and I'm honoured to be working with them for this project. And who knows, again, something bigger maybe around the corner. We don't know. We'll see. Anyway, assalamu alaikum. I'll see you in the next episode. Assalamu alaikum.